Hello and welcome to the second round of the Wayports Racing League, a series organised by Wayports, pitting employees of various telecommunications, hardware and software companies against each other. I'm Peter Butcher, and alongside me in the commentary booth once again, it's Thilo Falkenberg. Hi Thilo.
Hey, good day everyone.
How's it going? Today we are at South City Classic in Live for Speed for round 2 of the Wayports Racing League, and let's have a look at the calendar so far. Last week we were at Blackwood Grand Prix for round 1. Today we're at South City Classic SO1 in Live for Speed on Saturday the 20th of February. Qualifying is about to get underway, and let's have a look at the track the drivers will be up against today. South City Classic is one of the oldest combinations in Live for Speed, and it's a 2 kilometre or 1.2 mile circuit with only 5 corners, Thilo. Qualification, as I mentioned, is 12 minutes and underway now, and the race will be 18 laps beginning in around about 20 minutes time. The cars the drivers are using this season is the XF GTI, one of the demo cars in Live for Speed, and it is a front-wheel drive 1.3 litre inline 4 engine car with 115 brake horsepower, so quite light, but also it's a handful. It can be a handful, Thilo.
Yes, indeed. And so far this season, we have only had one round, obviously, but Andy from Team Strings is the one who is currently topping the list in the championship standings. He is followed by Mariano from Interlink France, Eduardo from Interlink Argentina, and Santiago from Strings as well. 5th position, Valentina for Interlink. And when we quickly look at the team standings, as you see the rest of the positions before we go into the session, there we see Strings up in front with Interlink France closely behind, and Interlink Argentina in 3rd position. We do have the first times on the board. Mariano from Interlink France takes the fastest lap after about 2 minutes in the qualifying session with a 1 minute 2.06, quickly followed by Andy from Strings and Valentina from Interlink France, now also on the board.
Yes, so 3 times so far, 4 times now, as Alex from Integra posts a 1 minute 12.18, and a few more times coming in. Thick and fast.
Yeah, back now on the provisional pole position with a 1 minute 1.90. Currently the fastest of the drivers on the track.
Yeah, did a little pirouette after P1 in celebration almost. Whether he intended to do that or not, I don't know, but it looked great. Andy from Strings now on provisional pole, just shy of the 1 minute mark. A really great lap that. He's some 1.4 seconds ahead of Bercht. Great lap that.
Indeed, and with the top 3 being Andy, Bercht and Mariano, those 3 used to be in the same sim racing team some 15 years ago. So
that's remarkable.
They've got some history behind their wheels, well, keyboards these days.
Yeah, it's great to see that they've returned to Live for Speed after, 1.5 decades. Really, really quite amazing, isn't it? 8 times so far. William from Interlink backs up the pack with being 21 seconds off the pace at the moment. Around this 1 minute lap, we expect to see the best times just around the 1 minute mark. Andy from Strings is currently the closest to that time as he comes across the line, I believe, Thilo, to start another lap.
Yes, probably. Oh, Mariano now takes the first time underneath 1 minute. 59.83.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of traffic up ahead of him now, though, and some damage on his car, so whether he will improve on this next run, we don't know. He's run quite wide at turn 1, so he won't improve on this lap. That's a really nice lap time from Mariano, putting Interlink France where they want to be at the top of the qualifying sheets once again. Remember, Mariano took pole position last time, but couldn't convert it into the win. That honour went to Andy from Strings, who currently sits 7/10 behind him on the provisional qualifying order. But we still have 7 minutes left in the session, so can Andy find that extra time to move himself ahead of his rival?
we're closely approaching the halfway mark in this qualifying session.
Yeah, and we're watching Mariano from Interlink France as he comes across the start-finish line. He's following one of the Strings cars very closely. And yeah, he's really on one. He's trying to find as much time as he can as the car ahead hits the wall. That will be distracting. And yeah, he's had to back off a little bit because of that car. So no improvement probably on this lap either, which is giving. And in fact, the car ahead of him was Andy from Strings, who batted off the wall, and you can't imagine that he'll improve on this lap either. Runs very deep at the chicane, narrowly avoids the wall on the entry, but hits the wall again on the exit. So Andy will probably want a new car to go out in the 6 minutes we've got left here to try and beat his current time. Current time being just over 1 minute, minute 53, as Mariano pulls into pit lane. Felipe from Fonexa crossing start-finish with an already quite battered car. He's currently P4, best time of 1 minute 4.79 in this session, but looking to get in amongst the top three at the moment. The top three very close, it has to be said.
Yeah, the Fonexa driver just did his new personal best on the last lap.
Yeah, so last time out at Blackwood we had long runoffs and lots of gravel traps to give the drivers a little bit of leeway, Tilo, if things went a little bit wrong. Today, no such luxury, as you can see, as Felipe hits the wall on the exit of this really tricky chicane here. It's tricky in every single car for a reason, and yes, with no runoffs, this race, the 18 laps of racing that we've got coming up, is sure to be quite challenging.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. And with this track, it is a little bit strange. It is pretty fast in most parts. You only have the braking zones for the hairpin and turn 1, then for the chicane, and then for the long left-hander at the end of the lap. So it's really quite difficult to make no mistakes in these corners, as going too shallow into the corner or being simply too fast will throw you into a wall.
Yeah, let's ride on board with Burke, who locks up all four wheels as he goes into turn 1 there, having some trouble with his brakes. But he's currently P3, he's 1.9 seconds off pole. Nice smooth entry into the chicane, good exit. He's got a car rejoining ahead of him. That was close with the Fonexa car there, as we head on to the short run down to the final corner. Great little track this, and really good fun in the XF GTI. He's got no cars ahead of him now, so it will be a straight shoot to the finish line. Takes quite a narrow entry there, but he'll use all the runoff on the exit. You can get really close to this barrier on the exit. Nice line for Burke for Interlink Brazil. Currently in P3 at 1 minute 1.73. Is this an improvement for the Brazilian driver? It is, but not enough to get up into the top 2 or the front row. But an improvement nonetheless, Tilo.
Indeed, and he just marginally was slower than the 1 minute 01 mark.
Yeah, not quite able to get into the 101s, the 1 minute flats, but a good attempt nonetheless, and that does push him further ahead than Felipe. There's now a 3-second void between the Fonexa driver and driver you're watching at the moment, Burke for Interlink Brazil. That is quite a gap.
Andy got himself a brand new car for the final dash for the pole position. So he's determined to try another lap in just a minute or so. Will probably be his final attempt for pole position.
Yeah, he'll have plenty of time to get around. He may even be able to complete 2 flying laps on this attempt. He did kind of pinball it out of the pit lane, Tilo, so he'll already be picking up damage on that car. Clearly not comfortable with this track today, and he's going to hit the wall again here. Scrapes the wall at the exit of the chicane. Needs to calm down a little bit if he wants to try and beat Mariano's time. We know what happens at the start of these races, though. It's a little bit crazy down into turn 1, especially at a track with no runoff. So anything can happen again into turn 1, and maybe that's what Andy's hoping for. He's hoping for a clean start once again to run away from the field. But anyway, here he comes onto the home straight. This will be his... Well, he'll have one other attempt after this if this is a clean lap.
Yes, indeed.
But yes, Andy from Strings, let's go on board and watch his attempt to try and beat Mariano. Very wide across the start-finish. And we head down to this little kink for turn number 1 underneath the flyover. Again, very wide and narrowly avoids the wall on the exit. And there'll be a heavy braking zone for turn 1 or turn 2. Got a car ahead of us, Tila. Hopefully that doesn't pose any problems. Nice apex there for Andy. And just the chicane to go. Probably the trickiest part of the track. You've got to be really gentle on the entry. Andy's going quite committed. Yeah, nice exit.
Nicely.
Got the car ahead, spinning. Going to have to try and avoid it. Try and go around the outside. Yeah, manages to go around the outside of the Integra car there. Onto the back straight. This is Andy's penultimate attempt. We've got 30 seconds left on the clock. He'll have enough time to complete another lap if he wants to. Nice wide line in. Bit wide at the apex. And didn't go out as wide on the exit as Mariano did. Not as smooth. So let's see what Andy from Strings has done on this lap as he comes across the start finish. There's a big accident ahead of him, and there's no improvement, Tilo.
No, it was not enough, and now the Argentinian car. Yeah, that's
all over.
It's all over.
So unless anyone else on the track at
Burst
the moment
is on a flying lap.
Okie dokie, let's pay our attention to Burke. He's got a Strings car ahead of him. That is Santiago, who moves out of the way. Very gracious there. As Burke comes onto the back straight. It's close. There's only 0.5 of a second between Strings and Interlink Brazil on qualifying at the moment. As Burke comes into the final corner. That was a great line. Taps the wall a little bit. Oh, he just gets away with it on the exit. Let's see if he can improve. It's really close between these top 3. We have to stress that as he comes across the line. And it's no improvement. Mariano for Interlink France will take pole position for round 2, making it 2 from 2 in qualifying in the Wayports Racing League. Andy from Strings in P2, not able to do it in the end. Then Burke to Interlink Brazil, some 3.5 seconds ahead of the rest of the field, these top 3. Burke there for Interlink Brazil in P3. Felipe for Fanexa lines up in P4. Eduardo for Interlink Argentina in P5. Santiago from Strings P6. Valentina, Mariano's teammate, in P7. Alex for Integra P8. William for Interlink Brazil P9. Luis in P10 and Jorge in P11. Round out our 11 qualifiers for round 2, Tilo.
Yes, indeed, and we are going to see some interesting racing here. I can already see. It's going to be very hard to judge how the first lap through the chicane is going to work out.
Yeah, and there on your screen now you can see official confirmation of the qualifying results for round 2. Mariano making it 2 from 2. He'll hope to have a good start this week. He didn't have a great start last week and got swallowed up in turn number 1. And also a slow pit stop during his race meant that he had all of the work to do after his pit stop to try and catch Andy. He brought the gap down to a couple of seconds there, so hopefully he'll be able to convert this pole position into a win today. And yeah, so for Interlink France, picking up some good points last week, hopefully doing the same again today. So we expect to see an 11-car field representation from a number of different teams and companies, but Interlink France have the bragging rights at the moment as pole position taken by Mariano there, Andy from Strings alongside on the front row in P number 2. The race coming up in just a couple of moments' time.
Yes, I can do that. Okay.
Hello and welcome back to round number 2 of the Wayports Racing League. The race is just about to get going here at South City Classic, and let's have a look at that all-important qualifying results and therefore the lineup for the start of the race. Mariano for Interlink France did everything he needed to do in qualifying, being the only driver to set a sub 1 minute lap time, setting a 59.83. Andy for Strings will line up alongside him on row 1. Bergt for Interlink Brazil and Felipe for Fenexa line up on row 2. Eduardo for Interlink Argentina and Santiago from Strings on row 3. Valentina for Interlink France and Alex for Integra Tech on row 4. William and Luis will line up on row 5. And Jorge for Integra Tech on row number 7. Tilo, can you take us away for the start?
Okay, we're here in South City. Nice, lovely day in London, as we see. And 1 and 2 red lights are on. We're waiting for the green. And away they go.
Yeah, a good start once again for the front two. Hopefully they can make it cleanly down to turn 1. Mariano then leading Andy for Strings, who's immediately going defensive on Bergt down into turn 1. Off the wall again for Andy. He's going to be under threat here, Tilo.
Yes, they go too wide into the braking zone. Oh, Andy with a later brake. Keeping the second position as we have Felipe at least looking into.
Yeah, we've got a number of cars in trouble at the back, Tilo, but the front group have made a great start. Mariano's gone a bit deep into the chicane.
For Nexus.
Yeah.
Felipe in the wall there in the chicane.
Yeah, just about managing to keep it clean, these guys at the front. We've got a few drivers rejoining at the back, so they'll be able to continue the race. That's good to see. But yes, a big collision down into turn 1 at the back of the field. Let's keep our attention at the front. Andy from Strings is mounting a lot of pressure on Mariano. Mariano runs deep. Andy will be alongside him. And we've got a race on our hands this time. The two drivers, the two main rivals in the championship, so far side by side across the line at the end of lap number 1. And it will be Mariano who will register the lead for the first lap. As we come down to turn 1, Andy will be on the inside. He bounces off the wall. Big contact. Oh, straight into Mariano. And Bergt will be smiling from ear to ear because the main his main rivals in the championship have had a big incident there. Burkt, with no damage on his car so far, will be hoping to make the most of that, as we see Felipe for Fenexa being overtaken by Santiago from Strings there. And Santiago...
And Burkt to the inside.
Great racing.
And Burkt into the lead. The Brazilian motorsports journalist now in the lead of this South City race.
Yeah, very experienced motorsport enthusiast is Burkt, and you can see that right now as he's taken the lead and has stayed completely out of incidents so far. He's going to be under a bit of pressure from Andy. Andy has picked up some left side damage because of that incident, and they're going to be side by side, and we've already got lap traffic to deal with. Oh my goodness me! Oh, it's going to be bad. Oh, that's horrendous. That's a massive accident. Mariano manages to get through unscathed on that one, but yeah, you have to say a little bit of unnecessary door-to-door contact between those two, and that's a disaster for Burke's race and also for Andy's race. More damage being picked up. Wow, the rear of Andy's car now, an absolute mess. Santiago then picks up the fastest lap and looks as though he's now got the cleanest car on the field.
Yes, indeed. Oh, his teammate again into the wall, and I would say, Andy, go down to the pit road to fix your car.
Yeah, Andy needs to fix that car. It's going to be an uncomfortable race if he doesn't do it. He may as well go and serve his pit stop early on. It looks like he's going to commit to the rest of the lap. Yeah, he is. So he's not going in the pit lane just yet. He doesn't fancy that. Mariano then, even though he's been involved in some incidents already and has damage on his car, he's streaks ahead of the rest of the field. Let's take a look at those gaps. 3.5 seconds ahead of the rest of the field so far. And he's got a little bit of clear track ahead of him, as the two Strings teammates will end up fighting out behind.
Well, they already swapped positions as Andy can't keep his car straight.
Yeah, that damage is just really, really hurting him at the moment. The rear track length is so much shorter than the front because of the rear damage he picked up with the incident with Burkt, as we see more contact in the background. And is that a roll?
William Beckhauser on the roof.
Yeah, that's going to be a retirement for the other Interlink Brazil car on his roof after an incident with one of the Fenexa cars in turn number 1. That's Felipe, who is remarkably, Thilo, still in P4 after all this drama.
Yes, he's not unscathed, but at least he got away halfly clean from this. We've got Alex from Integra now coming down the pit road. Alex now searching for a pit box.
Alex has found his pit box, and that will be our first race-defining pit stop of the day, I imagine. As Mariano...
Yeah, also Felipe from Nexa in the pits.
Yeah, we've got an absolute traffic jam at the chicane. Mariano's just had to weave his way through a few cars, yeah. But the gap at the front now up to 9 seconds then, as Mariano's trying to get past back marker traffic, and the back markers have basically just blocked him there. That's one of the Interlink cars. That was William again. Oh, and narrowly avoided by Santiago from Strings as well. Mariano will not be happy with that. The back markers, they're supposed to get out the way, and well, that was just a little bit uncomfortable to watch, really. 4 seconds now, the gap between Mariano and Santiago. So yeah, that gap has come down dramatically because of that.
Yeah, and Felipe, who was in the pit line, now a lap down to Mariano and Santiago. Oh, and the drive-through penalty right at the end of the pit lane.
Andy from Strings has come into the pit lane finally to do some repairs from P3. Valentina, meanwhile, because of Felipe's pit stop, has been promoted to P4. But yeah, the gaps at the front of the field are vast. 46 seconds between Mariano and his teammate Valentina in P4 at the moment. Let's see how long Andy's pit stop will be. It will be quite a long one because of the amount of damage that he managed to pick up on that car. And Mariano may even get a lap over his main championship rival at this point. But look at the damage at the front of Mariano's car. That is a lot of damage. As Mariano now commits to the pit lane for his pit stop, it clips the pit wall on the entry. Not ideal that, but yeah, slowing down to the pit lane speed limit on the entry to the pit lane. So yeah, there won't be a lap between Mariano and Andy on this occasion, but there is in fact a change for the lead, Tilo, as Santiago streaks past, yet to serve his pit stop, but takes over the lead of the race.
So Strings again with the lead car in this race, but not Andy. Santiago is in the lead.
Yeah, Santiago this time with probably the car on the track with the least damage at this point, as he hits the wall. Okay, I shouldn't say stuff like that, should I? Really? Into the wall
of the commentator
for Santiago at turn number 1. That was a big one. The XFG, it's quite small and it doesn't like these little bits of damage as he hits the wall again. So although he's in the lead, he's not having an easy time of it. Mariano is just about to leave pit lane. He's found a pit box.
Oh!
And he's pulled away now.
He's overtaken by Valentina, and this makes it a family 1-2 at the moment, as Valentina is the sister of the leading Santiago.
Oh, wow, amazing. So it's Interlink France and Strings Affair at the front, but Interlink France are still one pit stop still to go, as we've got more backmarkers really struggling to
Santiago
control
to
their
the
car.
pits, but overspeeding quite heavily.
What, so is that a penalty for Santiago then?
Yeah, drive-through penalty for Santiago.
Oh no, so the leader picks up a drive-through. That means that Valentina is quite clearly going to be in the lead of this race until she makes her pit stop. Where's Mariano? Mariano and Andy are together again. Andy served his pit stop and he still managed to be ahead of Mariano. It's the same story as last week. Mariano just not able to make these pit stops work at the moment. And there's a straight fight on for the lead. 7 seconds the gap between what will be net P1 and net P2.
Santiago leaving his pit box, probably rejoining the track in 3rd position.
Yes, but another trip down the pit lane necessary unless Santiago wants to be disqualified, as Andy, his teammate, tears past now and sets his sights on catching Valentina, who is at the head of this race, as you can just see there, entering turn 1. Great stuff this from the Wayports Racing League, round number 2. We're currently watching Andy from Strings, who won last week's race, but it doesn't look like it's going to go his way this week currently. He's really struggling with the tight and twisty confines of this city layout here in Live for Speed, hitting the wall yet again. That car has already been repaired for damage once, and we're not even halfway through the race, Tilo.
Yeah, not even. We are on lap 8. We're going to enter lap 9 in just a few seconds.
Yeah, Mariano then is setting his sights on overtaking Santiago on track. He wants to do it on track. He doesn't want any more drama. He's got a clean
Santiago.
car. Oh, heavy into the wall. And there's the overtake. Mariano makes his way past and retakes P3.
But also Andy is catching up to Valentina, as we do have a car stationary in turn 1. One of the Integra cars, it's Jorge.
Yeah, Jorge for Integra there in P number 8. He's just letting through the back markers. That car is very, very damaged. Yeah, his clutch is also completely fried and he gets in the way of one of the Strings cars a little bit. But anyway, let's keep our eyes at the front. Andy from Strings is catching Valentina hand over fist, and it looked like Valentina might have been committing to the pit lane there, but no, drives past on this occasion as we lose another car from the race. Andy from Strings very wide at the final corner, but I think the battle for the lead is going to be a three-way affair.
Oh, Mariano now with a run.
Yeah, in the next couple of corners, because look at that run now for Mariano. He's already passed Alex. Well, they're side by side, sorry, as we head through turn number 1. Very close. Yeah, this is the battle for the lead between these three. Andy and Mariano have already pitted.
Oh, Valentina blocking her own teammate.
Yeah. Oh, and there's contact. Oh, and Valentina's taken Mariano out. Mariano facing the wrong way, and now he has it all to do yet again. Mariano, and he's taken his own teammate out as well, so the teammates not making each other's life easy, and that's letting Santiago have a go into the chicane. Oh, so nearly contact on the entry, but no contact. Andy from Strings has been given another lifeline as the two Interlink France teammates take one another out at turn number 1. Valentina yet to make a pit stop, holding up her teammate Mariano, who now has an 11-second gap to cut down again at the end of this race. It's a carbon copy of last week, Tilo.
Yes, except for the shenanigans between the Interlink cars. I don't think that the president of the affair, that Mariano, will be happy with Valentina after this move.
I'm sure it'll be fine. This is just a bit of fun at the end of the day. But when the racing helmet goes on, Tilo, you know that the blood can boil at such an incident. So hopefully no love lost between those teammates. But anyway, Andy from Strings leads the race after 11 laps. It's a remarkable race, it has to be said. Mariano for Interlink has his work cut out now. He has to bring that gap down on the track. Both of these drivers have made pit stops. Andy from Strings currently leading the championship. Mariano P2. If it finishes that way again, Andy will extend his championship lead. Mariano won't like that. He did everything he needed to do in qualifying, as he did last week, and still he has to get past Andy again on track. Cross start finish.
Mariano had to pass some stranded car in the final corner.
Yeah, Valentina's made it into the pit lane.
Ah, okay.
Currently P5 and stationary for a while. Yep, still stationary in the pit lane, in fact. I'm not sure what's gone on there. But anyway, that's allowed Santiago to move up to P3. And Felipe for Phoenix has now got past Valentina as well. So very, very, very long pit stop for Valentina. Finally, she moves away from her pit stops. 33 seconds, that pit stop for Valentina. But anyway, let's keep an eye on the gap between P1 and P2. 8.2 seconds, Tilo. 7 laps to go.
Yes, and currently the fastest car on the track is Mariano again, so...
Yeah, he's brought the gap down to under 8 seconds now, and with now 7 laps to go as Andy comes across the start-finish line, I imagine this gap is going to close up to the point where we have a battle for the lead in the dying laps of the race, unless anything else happens.
Last lap, 0.7 of a second faster, Mariano, compared to Andy.
Yeah, Andy's got trouble. Andy's had contact with the back marker, and Andy's in the wall hard. That was one of the Interlink Argentina cars, if I'm not mistaken. And look at that. Mariano has caught straight up to the back of Andy, so this is going to happen a lot sooner than we thought. Andy will not be happy with that. Back marker, unfortunate contact there. And it's going to be side-by-side for the lead down the back straight here at South City Classic. Hopefully this Interlink Argentina car can get out of the way. It's got a lot of body damage, so it'll be very difficult to drive as that car does in fact make its way into the pit lane. So here we go then. The battle for the lead between Strings as Andy goes very wide into the wall, and there's the overtake. That's the pass for the race lead. Once again, Mariano has done it on track. He takes over the lead in round 2.
So yeah, Mariano now in the lead. As William is rejoining the track just in front of Andy.
Yeah, and there's contact at the same place. Oh, and that's huge contact between those two guys. It was lag contact, unfortunately. And Andy from Strings on his roof will be a DNF from this race. It did not finish. That is unfortunate. Unfortunate lag contact there with the Interlink Brazil car. Side-by-side contact, you have to try and avoid those things in racing. And unfortunately, in the online context, that can happen sometimes. As Mariano then has a clear run to the end of this race, some 40 seconds ahead of Santiago from Strings, Andy's teammate. But yeah, Andy will not finish this race. Unfortunately, that leaves us with 8 drivers running as Andy rejoins at the back. It's still Strings in P2 though, Tilo. Don't forget
Yes.
that.
At least not too bad for the team standings, although the second contender was sadly taken out. But yeah, Andy, music producer from Germany, and I think that the main problem was the internet connection between Germany and Brazil in this situation we just saw.
Yeah, it was side by side contact that ended up with Andy just getting flung forwards. Yeah, just one of those things in the end. Yeah, hopefully we can try and sort these issues out before the next round. Certain things we can do to minimise that. But anyway, Andy unfortunately won't be taking home the full set of points that he wanted to, because Mariano is currently in the hot seat, P number 1. Just needs to basically avoid the back markers at this point, basically, Tilo.
Yes, 3 laps to go. But as we've seen, there can be still many things to happen.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Andy, we didn't expect that to happen at all, especially for a driver of his skill. Showed us what he had last week, showed us that he's got the pace here today, lining up P2 on the grid, but then unfortunate contact with the Brazilian driver of William Beckhauser managed to end his race. As we see Santiago, he's got some absolutely colossal front right toe damage and camber damage on that car, and it makes it even worse by hitting the wall at the final corner, somewhat overdriving that car, you have to say, and it looks like he's probably going to end up burning through the rubber in his front tyres, and he's currently in P2. He doesn't want that.
Well, he has got nearly a lap from third placed Felipe.
Yes, but that gap
Felipe
will come
is
down.
currently held up in the chicane by Jorge.
Yeah, Jorge there also with damage. All these cars with damage, they're just not enjoying the tight, twisty confines of this track. And look at the front of Felipe's car. That is an absolute mess. That car has been in contact with basically every single wall around this track by the looks of it. As he enters the final corner at some speed, that is not going to slow down in time. And he, in fact, yeah, wall rides around the final corner.
Santiago is ahead of Mariano. Mariano laps him.
Yeah, there's a lapping for the lead. There
we
go.
But look at how slow he can only go.
Yeah, this is what I was mentioning before. I think Santiago has burnt through his tyres and he'll be under threat from the Fenexa car soon, I expect. Sounds like he's not shifting up through the gears, just deciding to max it out. And he's going into the pit lane.
To pit.
With 1 lap to go, Santiago for Strings decides enough's enough. He wants to go and get a new car or get that damage repaired, which means there could be a fight for the podium. Felipe for Fenexa, who was in P4 for most of the beginning of the race, has made it up to P3, and he could even inherit P2 if he can make it round the track unscathed. As Mariano then, for Interlink France with...
he missed the pit box.
Who did? Santiago? Oh, here we go.
Yeah,
he needs to find another
time.
pit box. What's he doing? He needs to find a pit box. Has he just given up? I don't know. Yeah, I think he's given up. He doesn't want to pit. He's missed a pit box and he's just decided to carry on. Mariano then on the final lap. 1 corner to go for Mariano. He's had a rocky race, but he's come out on top this time around. 1 corner to go. 1.5 minutes his lead over Santiago, who was struggling to find a pit box, as we saw. If Santiago can keep it ahead of Felipe, he will take
now
P2.
Coming around the final corner, first corner.
Yeah, so we could have a battle on our hands between... Yeah, we will have a battle on our hands for P2, but let's keep an eye as Mariano comes across the line to win round 2 of the Wayports Racing League. 20 minutes, 30 seconds of racing. Fastest lap of a 1 minute 56 for Mariano. But yeah, let's take a look at that battle for P2 then, as Santiago will be under pressure from the Fenexa driver. And there it is. There's the pass that we were waiting for. As Andy comes across the line, he's some 14 laps down though, so he will not be classified that far ahead of the rest of the drivers. Mariano then making his way round on his victory lap as we wait for the rest of the cars to finish.
Yeah, Felipe is now coming around the final corner.
Yeah, Felipe
crossing the line and finishing the race in second.
Yeah, second place for Felipe then. Amazing, really, when you consider the race he had. It's amazing to think that other drivers had it even worse than Felipe, namely Andy from Strings, who had a disaster of a race, getting caught up with the back
Santiago now
marker.
crossing the line.
Yes, Santiago with that battered front end, finishing P3 ultimately. Good points for Strings, though, in the Teams Championship. It's important that one of those cars managed to make its way through to the front. But yes, Eduardo for Interlink Argentina with a decent race in the end. We will bring you full classification of all the runners in just a couple of seconds' time. So here come the very, very provisional results of the race. We have a number of disqualifications, but yes, provisionally, these are the results of round number 2. Mariano for Interlink France wins ahead of Felipe for Finexa and Santiago from Strings. Then Jorge for Integra Tech in P4, Alex P5. So the two Integra Tech cars doing quite well there in the end. William for Interlink Brazil and Eduardo for Interlink Argentina P6 and 7. Andy with a disaster of a race this time out finishes P8. Bercht for Interlink Brazil after a very promising start finishes down in P9. Valentina P10 and Luis for C Integra there in P11, some 17 laps off the lead. And you've got to hand it to Mariano, fastest lap 1 minute 0.56. So yeah, a very exciting race there. Wow, that was a lot of action, Tilo.
Yes, South City delivered, actually. What else is left to say? I mean, the narrow streets of South City really provided some drama throughout the race, and it was, much drama throughout the whole race, indeed.
Yes, I think it's time to grab some interviews with our drivers. Let's say hello to Mariano for Interlink France. Mariano, congrats.
Thank you. How's it going?
Going pretty well. What a race. Lots of action throughout. I reckon you probably thought your race was over when you had contact with Valentina. Give us your thoughts.
That was insane. I was really, I was cursing out loud here. It's just, yeah, that was really difficult. This is not the way you want to win. We couldn't even fight with Andy there. He got wrecked as well. I was just lucky that, when I was in the pits for like 40 seconds, I thought it was all over, but it paid off. And I think what we really need here is like a driving academy. It's really nice in this league to try and be, open to newcomers, but I think we need like a driver's license or something, because definitely more preparation time would have been better for this.
I think so, but there's definitely promise. The top three, especially you, Andy from Strings, and also who else was there? It was Bercht. You guys really, really, great pace, quite a void in qualifying. So yeah, what do you think? Summarize this race and summarize your thoughts about your battles, especially with Andy at the beginning.
I mean, it was nice. I thought there would be more of that, more battling each other out on track, but it was just mostly about surviving all these. There were some slow cars and some cars that were doing questionable moves. That is not what we want to see. But it was still, I guess, exciting because it was so unpredictable. It could have gone to anyone. I'm just lucky that I came out the way that I did.
Yeah, we thought it could have been a repeat of last week where Andy kind of ran away with it because of the incidents you got caught up in. But eventually, Andy not having the best of days. Let's bring Andy in. Andy, for Strings, you're in the commentary booth. How are you feeling after that? I think he's jumped out. I don't think he wants to have an interview with us. Maybe we can.
Sure.
Sure.
I was just lucky that I came out the way that I did.
Yeah, maybe we can talk to Valentina.
Yeah.
Valentina, are you there?
Hey.
Hello. I want to talk to you about your unfortunate contact with your teammate there,
Oh my
Mariano.
God. I'm so disappointed with myself. Yeah, so I really don't know what happened in that turn. Would you tell me what happened? I felt he was kind of in the middle. I don't know if he had crushed against, with someone there too. I'm not sure.
Well, maybe Mariano can give us a first-person run through of what happened. We saw it on the stream, but yeah, it just looked unlucky, honestly.
It's just going on the inside. It happens also. It happened before in the practice. It's just going on the inside, and just I guess she didn't see me, and so there was no way to avoid contact. She just, I think, turning into me. I'm not sure. I'd like to see it as well, but it's just the way that I just went flying. Wow, I couldn't believe it at that moment of the race, right?
Yeah,
Same here.
I think it was funny when Mariano, you finally got your car pointing in the same direction, and you basically returned the favor to Valentina, spinning her around on the exit. It was quite entertaining.
That was not on purpose. That was just trying to get away from the mess. Yeah.
Let's try Andy one more time. Andy, do you want to say a few words to us? I don't think he wants to say a few words to us today. So
maybe, yeah.
maybe just not having a fun time.
A little upset, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. Thanks, Mariano. Thank you, Valentina, once again. We will wrap up here.
Thank you.
So, Tilo, let's summarize our thoughts on round 2 and think ahead to next week as we take the field to the next track in the calendar, Blackwood Rallycross.
That's going to be very interesting as well, because Rallycross is a whole different beast. Although these cars are still rather nice to drive, they are suddenly in the air for quite a few times throughout the lap.
Absolutely. So yeah, the drivers have currently had 2 rounds of racing on tarmac with some nice smooth road, and now we're going back to Blackwood for round 3, where we have half tarmac and half rallycross and dirt with 2 jumps thrown in, or several jumps actually. So yeah, a completely different beast, as you said, and that is sure to be an absolutely amazing race to watch. So we hope you can join us next week for round 3 of the Wayports Racing League. I've been Peter Butcher. He's been Tilo Falkenberg. This has been the Wayports Racing League. We hope you have a great rest of your day. See you later.